Walker Zimmerman, it is so great to see you on the heels of the U.S. qualifying for the World Cup. Has it sunk in yet?
I think it's starting to. The draw helped, made things feel a little bit more real. But yeah, there's still a lot of months left to go. So you can't really get that feel quite yet, but I think the draw definitely helped a lot.
Okay, let's talk about the draw. Were you actually able to watch it?
I was watching live the entire thing from start to finish. And it's super weird when you've seen so many growing up, but then like when you're actually a part of it, my wife texted me, she's like, this is actually like pertaining to us. Like it makes it feel so real. I'm like, yeah, this is actually crazy.
So what was your reaction when you saw the group that you were in?
Honestly, amazing. I think I would have been ecstatic about like any group that you see because you're like, oh, this is our group for the World Cup. But I think when you look at it on paper, and then obviously the rivalry with England is special. But it's a favorable draw. There's no kind of beating around the bush. But at the same time, it's a World Cup. Every single game is going to be a battle, and there's not any easy moments in any of those games. And so we'll have to take all of our concentration and effort and make sure we focus for the entire group play. But first reaction is it's a very good group for us.
I want to talk about that matchup with England because I think that is the game that most people are looking at and sort of circling on the calendar. There's a history there. What makes that sort of rivalry, I guess we can say, so special? Do you guys get extra amped up when you see that you're going to be playing a team like England?
I think so. I think obviously you look back at 2010 and that game, and that obviously holds a little bit of weight. But I think just for the casual American fan, they know a lot of England's players because they watch the Premier League. They recognize the names, they recognize the players, and that helps. And it certainly doesn't hurt that it comes on what will likely be an off day for a lot of Americans, which is the day after Thanksgiving. So I expect there to be a heavy American crowd in attendance for that one. I know I'm certainly going to try and get my family out to that game.
I'm going to forego all the Black Friday sales to keep my eyes on this match. Just saying.
I think they might need to offer a Black Friday sale for that game.
I think that's very smart. I think marketing people around the world are sort of like, we need to tune into this right now. So you mentioned that fans are familiar with the players in England, but you guys are as well. You think about the guys like Christian Pulisic and Anthony Robinson, Matt Turner, Zach Steffen, all playing in the UK. Do you think the familiarity with the players on that England side is advantageous for you guys?
I think so. I don't know how advantageous it's going to be, but I think at a certain point when you look at the familiarity of playing with or against an opponent, that's only going to help you. So having guys that have played against them multiple times, playing in the same league as them, that's going to be beneficial for us. And I know that everyone will be helping each other out as much as possible in terms of scouting and preparation and habits and mentality. So really excited to talk to the other guys and get a group chat going already.
Some dangerous attackers on that England squad. As a defender, Walker, who are you most looking forward to playing against?
It's got to be Harry Kane. He's a player who's been in top form for years now and has kind of evolved into that leader of that team. He's certainly a talent that scores a lot of goals, provides a lot of different ways that he can hurt you, whether it's with his final pass, his production in the box, his size, physicality. Obviously, he's excellent finisher. So that's someone that we'll be aware of in the back, and I'm looking forward for that challenge.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions during this whole World Cup qualifying process. But for you in particular, it's been a pretty up and down journey. Can you kind of describe what you have gone through during this whole process?
It's been wild. I think it starts for me in Gold Cup and having a really good first two games, coming in against Canada and then pulling a hamstring. And that injury, as soon as that happened, it was, okay, what's the timeline on this? How quickly can I get back? I need to be involved in these September qualifiers. And so I knew I had to push the rehab, really be aggressive with it, and make sure I got games in with Nashville to be in consideration for September. And so got to that point, got called in, was super excited just to be involved because, it was a race against the clock, and definitely disappointed without playing, stepping on the field. And then had some good games going into October. So I felt really good about it. I was like, okay, well, maybe, I'll get a chance in this window because, I've been playing now, clearly recovered from the hamstring that happened in Gold Cup. And then Greg called him and was like, hey, you know, we're not going to bring you into this camp. You know, I want you to be ready. And I was like, okay, blah, blah, blah. I was just kind of like, you know, upset. Kind of had a good conversation with him about, you know, how I felt like I could help the team, and told him like, yeah, you don't have to worry about me being ready. I'll always be ready. And the next day he called and obviously got in the group and then showed up and ended up starting two of those games in that window. And so that was the turning point for me. I think established some trust there. And you know, you have to be consistent. And so trying to have as many consistent games as possible, and was able to do so. And obviously now here we are, qualified, got some games under my belt in qualifying, and now really, really excited to hopefully go to Qatar.
Yeah, I mean, Greg Berhalter always talks about that sort of next man up mentality with this squad, and you sort of embodied that throughout these qualifiers. You established yourself as a mainstay on that back line. You wore the captain armband. What does it mean to you to have that kind of trust and confidence from Greg Berhalter?
It's important. You know, you always want to have the trust of your manager, and for Greg to kind of reward the consistent play with more and more games, and obviously getting the captain's band, it's huge. And it's, you know, you feel like as a player, when you have the support of the staff, teammates, I mean, it allows you to be more free, more of yourself on the field, not worry as much about making a mistake or doing something wrong, and just out there competing and playing. And so happy with how that went. Honestly, pretty excited that a childhood dream could come true in that regard of being a captain for a World Cup qualifier and qualifying for the World Cup. Those are all checks off the boxes of the goal list that I set out for myself.
Well, Walker, every time before the match, they would release the starting lineup, and every single time I would see that center back pairing of you and Miles Robinson, I'd kind of, I breathe a little sigh of relief. You guys made me feel confident. You made me feel safe. Can you talk to me about that partnership that you've established with him and why it's been so successful?
Yeah, Miles and I have gotten to get a good run of games in together. I guess it really started in Gold Cup, continued through qualifying, maybe a couple friendlies before that. But he's a great center back partner. I mean, we know his skill set, we know his ability to defend in space, his athleticism to win challenges and track people down. So he does a great job. He's had a great qualifying cycle, and now, you know, speaking with him and the challenge is, hey, it doesn't matter what we've done. We have to continue our form, play well at the club level if we want a shot at this. And so, again, really excited for him. Exciting young player who's grown tremendously over the past couple of years. And I think he now knows as well that the job is not by any means over. It's just getting started. And he knows the importance of having to be playing well. And so, yeah, couldn't be more proud of him and excited that we were able to get the job done as a partnership for a lot of those games.
As a fan watching these games, it felt like we sort of watched firsthand this maturation process of this team. What did you see in terms of growth from this group throughout qualifiers?
I saw a lot. I think just in the way that we talked about qualifying in general. You know, there was a lot of guys who were probably a little naive going into El Salvador. That first window, the comeback against Honduras was a good kind of trigger for us, a reminder that, hey, we have to be dialed in every single game. And sure, we definitely had some performances that would have been below our standards, maybe not gotten some results, but it's tough. It's not easy. And so to ultimately get through this last window, get a draw at Azteca, have a commanding victory over Panama that kind of opened the door for the goal differential to be very secure. We aren't happy about the result in Costa Rica, and quite honestly, I think a lot of us have just gotten over that very quickly because the main goal is to qualify. And so, definitely a lot of growth, a lot of adversity that we overcame individually, collectively. Lots of injuries, last minute substitutions. I mean, things that happen, stomach bug. I mean, you name it, we experienced it. So that's gonna be a great experience for us. And now that we have those kinds of experiences, it should better prepare us for Qatar.
Walker, knowing what happened with this team 4 years ago and the failure to qualify for the World Cup, it's something that as the media, we kept kind of talking about. And I'm curious to know if that narrative was something that was in the back of your heads throughout these qualifiers, or if it was a situation where it was like, nope, the past is the past, we're putting that to bed. I'm just wondering how that sort of played into the mentality of this team.
I think it's honestly a little bit of a mixture of both.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were constantly talking about it all the time. It wasn't like it wasn't like Voldemort and we weren't allowed to say it, we kind of acknowledged it in the beginning, saying, hey, this is to prove like it's not easy. It's not a given. We have to be focused, disciplined, whatever. And then, when things kind of didn't go our way, it was making sure that we don't try and associate ourselves with the past and like put those demons behind us. And then in this last, kind of build up to this last game, it was like, hey, now is our chance to put that behind all of us for good, and silence all of the noise around not qualifying 4 years ago. And we did that, and we qualified. And now I think everyone there's a bit of relief there, for sure, because again, it's not necessarily pressure. It's just a responsibility aspect of it. And I think all of us felt responsible in some way of making sure that it didn't happen again. So now that it didn't, there is some relief there. But I think it was an unfortunate moment for the United States soccer, but an important one too, because now we're like, we don't ever want that to happen to anyone, to a younger generation. We want to make sure that this never happens again. And so here we are, we're back in the World Cup, and hopefully we'll be in all the rest of them too.
Here you are, back in the World Cup. So let's talk about the next 7 months, what they look like for you personally, what they look like for this team as you look ahead to Qatar.
Yeah, on a personal level, and for everyone, quite frankly, that's involved, is you have to perform well with your club. And it's not a situation where you qualify and now you take a back seat and take it easy, because the reality is every one of us has to improve in our form. We have to get better individually. It's going to make our team better. It's going to give us a better chance of doing well at the World Cup. And so for me personally, it's doing the same things I've always done, showing up at training, working hard every day, taking care of my body, physically, mentally, and making sure I get recovery in, obviously, this week. But then, keep your foot on the gas, keep working, because we aren't there yet. And I want to put myself in a position to be involved and to make a big impact. So keep doing the things I'm doing. Obviously, as a group, we have 4 games in June, 2 friendlies, 2 Nations League. That'll be very important for players who have been in and have not been in lately, to kind of a little last audition for the World Cup, and then 2 friendlies in September, which I would imagine would be pretty close to the guys who are going to go. So it's really important window in June to have 4 games to get guys a lot of minutes, especially those who maybe feel like they need to show the staff that they are a valuable option. And it's going to be crazy. The competition will be high. We have a lot of depth in this country, a lot of quality players. So the competition's only just beginning for that.
Walker, how will you guys measure success in Qatar? Do you have to get out of the group stage? Is qualifying enough? What does that look like in your minds?
I think Greg said it best in his presser the other day. Is first objective, get out of the group. We have to get out of the group. That is definitely a bare minimum for us. Getting out of the group, and then obviously anything can happen in a knockout stage. I've seen it time and time again in MLS. Shoot, going in as the higher seed hosting the game doesn't matter. It's a one-off, and we feel like we can compete with anyone in the world in a one-game series. And so getting out of the group is a must. Everything after that is going to be intense, and we're looking to win 7 games.
All right. I think that's it. Walker, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on qualifying for the World Cup. We can't wait to watch you the next few months and see how it all pans out. But just a tremendous job throughout qualifiers. It was great to watch you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.